Hey everybody, welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, the 28th of August, 2017. Almost done with August. Coming up on September. High season for all things in the home business world, September. If you're new here, you didn't know that, we are getting ready for an avalanche, another avalanche of new members. And I especially want to welcome our new members who are joining us here today for the first time. I did have an opportunity to say hi to a couple of you right as we were getting started with the call. Very glad you're here. This is the Black Diamond Call, so this one's a little bit different than what you've experienced on the wake-up calls if you've been on those. Before we get into tonight, though, I want to give you a quick announcement and reminder, and that is that on October 14th and 15th, 2017, we are getting together in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada for our next Marketing Mastery event. This is a live event that happens only a couple times a year. It's a big, big deal. In fact, there's actually a topic surrounding that event, which I'm going to be discussing tonight. It's going to be, I think, enlightening for everyone. But the thing is about this event, this is an at cost or below cost event that Michael basically gives a gift a couple times a year and puts these on. So if you are new here and you don't know what that's about yet, go to digitalaltitude.co/MME, digitalaltitude.co/MME, and you'll get all the details about that. And grab early bird tickets. They are heavily discounted. And I can tell you guys that I've been to events costing $1,000 plus that do not pack the value that you're going to be getting at this two-day event in Las Vegas. So be there, and everyone in Digital Altitude is invited. And again, that is our Marketing Mastery event in October. So, one other thing I wanted to say about that, which I have failed to mention as I give our announcements each morning, and that is that if you are a recent RISE customer, like if you've recently purchased your RISE program, you go ahead, you get your ticket to Vegas, you get your Sherpa ticket. They're only $97 right now, and they're going to give you that $97 back when you show up in Vegas. So it's essentially free. Just get there. They want everybody there. We want you to be there. Get there, and they'll give you a $97 back. So great stuff. And if you're not a RISE member yet, my goodness, get yourself a RISE program. It is priceless what you can do with it. And that is going to segue into our topic for tonight. Before I get into that, I do need to give you my disclaimers, and that is that everything we talk about on the Black Diamond Call is designed for use. Yes, these are ideas that you are to put to use in your business and in your life. This is not just for entertainment value, as entertaining as I like to think I am, but please find ways to use these ideas as you see them workable in your own life and in your own experience. And take what you like and leave the rest, just like any good buffet. And if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. Let me introduce my guest speaker for tonight real quick. He's a guy who you know and love and you've heard a lot from, John Lavenia. Woo, yay. Hey, thanks, John. Glad to be here. You know what? That joke never gets old. Yes, I am my own guest speaker here tonight. To the delight of many of you and to the chagrin of others. But we're going to have a conversation here tonight, you and I, about a thing called use value. Use value. Now, something you get to hear a lot in our industry is this idea of delivering value in the marketplace. And when you get into like video marketing or email follow-ups and such, you will hear people quite often telling you that you can't just pitch, and here's my business, here's my link, here's my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Like, you can't do that. You'll just have a bunch of unsubscribers and people who know that anytime they see your name in their email that you're going to be pitching stuff. And so the ratio that I have most commonly heard, and people have differing opinions about this, but the most common ratio I hear is 80-20, 80% value, 20% pitch. So here's my new video, here's my new blog article, check it out, let me know what you think, send me your comments, click to like and subscribe, and share it with your friends, and here's the free ebook and value. This is value to people who are subscribers to your list, because we're all in the list building business here. Okay, the whole idea of sales is not just an event that happens. Like, I want you to consider some differences between what we do and what a company like, let's say, Amazon does. Okay, so Amazon's a catalog, and you show up on Amazon because you want to buy, I don't know, somebody type in the chat roll something you would buy on Amazon. Let's say, I don't know, do you buy toilet paper? Probably not. Let's see, what do you buy on Amazon? Some trinket, a book. Okay, so Lila's saying a book. Yes, of course, books. A car down at books, right? Amazon started as a book retailer. I forgot all about that. Yeah, they do still sell books, in fact. But so I'm going to go on Amazon. I'm going to buy a book. And I already know what book I want. I'm going to buy The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, which people have republished. It's out of copyright now. But you can go ahead. Lila's saying integrity is everything. Yes, you can go buy that book. That's a great book. Integrity is everything. Profound book. But so I'm going to go and buy The Science of Getting Rich, and I know what I want, and I'm going to go on Amazon, and I'm going to click the thing, and I'm going to put it in my cart, and I'm going to check out, and that's it. So that was an event that just happened. The event was me showing up on a site that sells books, buying the one that I went there to buy, and having it delivered to my house. Great. That's not what we do. Not what we do. What we do is something quite different. In our world, sales is a process. It's not just an event like that. We're not catalog selling here. People haven't already made up their minds as to what they want. And in fact, quite often, they don't know what they want. I'm saying that with a quiet voice. It's like a secret. A lot of times, people don't know what they want. And we have to get in communication with them to help them clarify an answer to such a simple yet profound question. What do you want? Now, if we could all just answer that question, the whole sales process might be shorter, okay? But it is a process. It is not an event. And typically, when we're talking about somebody changing their life, like doing something profound, like joining a business, perhaps investing time and money, perhaps investing an unreasonable amount of time and money, because after all, 100% of their time, their effort, their money is going into just survival right now, right? They're paying the bills, and they're hopefully paying the bills, and they're getting by, and they're answering to their boss, and they're showing up for work, and they may have to work late, and they got the kids, and they got this, and they got that, and it's such an unreasonable request for someone to do something that will actually require them to get even more out of balance in their life. Now, if they don't have a solid reason to do that, if they don't know what they want, or they have not raised their necessity level to the point where doing something uncomfortable is going to be, in order, okay? Like they wouldn't quite consider that if they were comfortable. But if they haven't raised their necessity level yet to the point where they know something's got to change, then it's going to be next to impossible to make that sale, okay, to have that enrollment, to cause that conversion from lead to customer or to affiliate to team member, pick whatever label you like. So you see the difference here. I can go to Amazon, I can buy a book. It takes me a few seconds. But doing something like this, potentially changing my life, and certainly just with the exploratory process for any thinking person, they're going to do their due diligence, they're going to do some research, they're going to probably have some questions, they're going to watch multiple videos, they're going to get in communication with the marketer. In our case, we have coaches, we have people who are involved and who are assets to the potential transaction. So you see the difference here. The transaction doesn't just happen because somebody showed up. The transaction is the final step. Well, actually, I shouldn't say the final step because there's additional things that happen after a transaction. But in terms of someone converting from a lead into a member, that would be the final step on that part of the tour, okay, that conversion. That happens down the road. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that we have to increase awareness of the value of our offer if we expect to convert leads into sales. Now, the most common question in the home business world is, how do I get leads? Anyone who's been around for a while, you've heard that question 10,000 times. Of course, that's because most people in the home business world are not in digital altitude. They could desperately use it because they don't even know what marketing is. They don't know how to get leads. They know how to make a list of 100 people, call their friends, family, and neighbors, cross their fingers, hope they show up for the milk and cookie party so they can sell them their skin cream and vitamins and jungle juice, and our juice is better than their juice, and on it goes, but they don't know anything about marketing. So here we don't have that problem, right? I mean, just go through a few of the training steps. Once you've been through your Aspire steps, of course, you're working with a coach, you're brand new here, stay the course, do what your coach shows you to do. That's all great. You got to understand some basics and some, business structure kind of considerations before you get into the front end of the business, which is the marketing, the advertising, the promotions. That's all great. And that will be there for you. It's a vast topic. It's one that I've been studying for some decades, and I've not arrived. I'm still learning, especially with the internet. My goodness, things change every week. But you've got a potential transaction that you're putting forth into the marketplace, and you're going to be offering this value. Now, the value that's in the offer includes several key components. Certainly, the product, right? There's a product line. In our case, we've got an educational curriculum. Fantastic. That's very relevant, by the way. I'm going to be touching on that more here later in our talk tonight, or at least I think I will. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth until I hear it. But so I'm very excited to hear where I go with this. But so we've got a product, right? We also have, we have a company, right? And that company has a mission. It has a founder. It has various people behind the scenes making this whole thing work. It has a purpose, right? That's all part of the offer. We have a business model, a compensation plan, accounting and such that's done that pays people commissions, rather robust commissions, in fact. So that's nice, right? But what else is in this offer? You're a part of this offer. Now check it out, everybody. If you were not needed or important, there would be no opportunity here for you. Digital Altitude would put its stuff on Amazon, and people would go, because I want to go buy an Ascend conference ticket. Let me go buy a ticket on the catalog website, okay? And that's, I don't need to talk to anybody. This is an event. Not only is Ascend or Peak or Apex an event, literally an event that you go to, but that purchase would be at that point reduced to nothing more than an event. Like when I went to Amazon and bought the book, that was an event that happened. It took 48 seconds, okay? But no, we have a process, and you're a big part of that process. Now, some people don't like hearing that because some people, they just want to automate themselves right out of their own business. Push button marketing, instant, easy microwave results. Click the easy button, sit your ass on the couch, eat carbohydrates, be a slob, and get rich. Unfortunately, that's a real easy sell. Unfortunately, there are a lot of, I mentioned earlier, thinking people. Well, there's a lot of not thinking people in the world. Beware, my friends, beware of these romantic, promises of instant riches. It's, just be careful with that. So, so knowing that success requires, actual effort and doing this, so we're going to do something. Now, here's the big question. Are you showing up as valuable in the marketplace? Are you? I mean, we know that throughout the history of our industry, and of course with the benefits people get from our products, and certainly from the track record of the company and Michael, the founder, and the various people on staff, including the incredibly awesome John Lavinia, we know that there is a lot of assets, human assets and logistical assets behind the scenes. But what about you? You are on the front line. Yes, you, my friend, you are the first point of contact. And if you were not needed and useful and important, there would be no opportunity here for you. So what is your role? How are you occurring in the marketplace? And can you speak value to the marketplace that will raise the eyebrows and open the ears of those who don't yet even know what they want? You see, all they know is that their current situation is less than optimal. That's it. That's all they know. Do they know that there's a solution? You see, when I went to Amazon and bought the book, my idea was that I heard this is a great book, and I'm going to go buy the book so I can read the book. Okay, but here we also have to be able to deliver some idea that whatever this problem is that someone's looking to solve, like when I went and bought the book, my problem was ignorance. I know not of the benefits that will be mine once I have workable understanding of the content of that book. So I'm going to go exchange. I'm going to exchange some money to get this knowledge because I already have an idea that that will be an answer for what I'm seeking in my life. Well, a lot of times people don't know. They don't know what the answer is to their situation. You know, they did that other BizOp thing, you know, and they sold the jungle juice, or they tried to anyway. They got cases full of it in their garage right now, and they don't know what to do with it. Apparently nobody wanted to buy this thing. Nobody wanted to buy the jungle juice. That's weird. They couldn't convert any sales. I thought all they had to do was sign up for this thing and, you know, buy the jungle juice, and then other people, you know, 2 get 2 or 5 get 5 or however, you know, however that goes. And which, by the way, I've never seen happen on planet Earth. Maybe on other planets that works out. I don't know. It's just, as far as us Earthlings, I've never seen geometric progression work like that. Because people are different, right? We were dealing with many variables in the marketplace. And you're one of those variables. How do you show up in the marketplace? As someone of value? And are you able to communicate that your offer is one of value? Are you able to communicate that? Are you able to make that other person, the person you're marketing to, and hopefully it's more than one person, but are you able to make people who are at least open-minded aware of the value that exists here in your offer, which includes you? Are you able to do that? Are you able to help them know that? Well, there's another person who needs to know that besides them, and you could probably guess who this is. It's you. Now, you see, if you don't know the value of your offer, which includes you, how are you going to communicate or transfer that knowingness to another person? Well, there is the old saying, fake it till you make it, which, again, I've never seen work. Actually, I have seen some sociopaths pull that off. Yes, there are people who can, with a straight face, fake it for what it's worth, and it's usually not worth much or for very long, right? There's such a thing as staying power and, you know, trust and credibility in the marketplace, and not having to you know, change your name every time you start a new business deal. So I don't know too much about fake it till you make it. Frankly, I don't know, maybe I've got loose filters, but I just have to be me. I have to be real. And if, you know, the truth isn't good enough, I'll go sell something else. I don't need to embellish the truth, especially about who I am, right, or about what our offer is, right? You don't like this, well, go buy something else. You don't like that book, go buy another book. You don't want to do our kind of business, you can do whatever you want. You see, there's a bit of an era of non-attachment. How did I get to that place of non-attachment? How did I get there? I got there because I got complete with the idea of who I was and what value I was offering. In other words, I was no longer introverting about it. I was no longer looking at me and my offer. I don't know, is this good? Should I do this? Should other people do it? I don't know. You know, all these questions, am I doing it right? This is all introverting questions. This is all where someone is looking at themselves because they are not yet sold themselves. So therefore, the first person we have to sell our offer to is us. And if we don't make that sale, you're going to have a really hard time selling anybody else. Now, if you do make that sale, oh my goodness, it's a walk in the park. Walk in the park. You know, people say, John, how did you become a top earner, a multi-million-dollar producer, and senior coach in digital altitude, and author and speaker, and you run your own companies? How did all that happen? I'll tell you how that happened. How that happened was studying the psychology of success and sales and marketing and interpersonal relations and communications. There's actual formulas for communication. I'm not talking about getting deep into the woods of neurolinguistic programming and now you got to match and mirror, you got to watch your voice inflections, but I'm talking about the transfer of enthusiasm. I'm talking about being authentically interested in delivering benefits into the marketplace because you know what those benefits are, and your marketplace, your customer, your ideal prospect or audience does not yet know, and it's your job to transfer some of that knowingness. But you cannot give what you have not got. If you don't know, they can't know. They have no shot. And I have found when dealing with something of significance like a business, like what we've got here, which can change somebody's life, I have found that authenticity is the greatest thing of all. Take some authenticity, sprinkle that with social proof, and my goodness, this is a walk in the park. Yes, conversion. So once we've gotten past the question of how do I get leads, which everyone here easily can get past, then the question is how do I convert leads into sales, into members, into customers, into participants? It comes down to you, and it comes down to the way you communicate value, not only to people who are in the broad public, who you're looking to induce an opt-in, right, on your lead capture page, so now they can be a lead, but it also is about communicating value to people who have now subscribed to your list and who are wondering, who can I trust, right? That's the biggest question for people on the web. Who can I trust? I don't know. Is this a scam? Are you a scammer? Are you a fraudster, a huckster or something? Fill in the labels with whatever you like. But that's the biggest question on people's minds. Who can I trust? You see how important you are in this transaction, or this potential transaction? Very important. So you have to know the value that you can deliver in the marketplace, otherwise nobody else can know it. Here's where I'm going with this. Okay, now, I mentioned the book earlier. I went to Amazon and I bought this book, and this book is called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, written in 1910, and it's a classic. How many of you have ever read this book? You can type it in the chat roll. By the way, it's Lila's read it, a few other people I'm sure. This book is out of copyright, so I suppose you could just download a free copy, or if I'm your coach, I could send you a free copy on Skype. But it's long out of copyright. Copyrights last 70 years. This book's older than that. And the book is called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. If somebody can type that in the chat roll for Akash. Anyway, one of the chapters in this book is called How Riches Come to You. Would anybody like to know how riches come to you? Yes, you would like to know. Okay, great. So we are going to read an excerpt from this book. Yes, a reading from the book by Wallace D. Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. And I'm going to put your attention on one specific thing that we're going to be talking about here called use value. Use value. It says here, when I say that you do not have to drive sharp bargains, I do not mean that you do not have to drive any bargains at all, or that you are above the necessity for having any dealings with your fellow men. I mean that you will not need to deal with him unfairly. You do not have to get something for nothing, but can give to every man more than you take from him. You cannot give every man more in cash market value than you take from him, but you can give him more in use value than the cash value of the thing you take from him. The paper, ink, and other material in this book may not be worth the money you paid for it. But if the ideas suggested by it bring you thousands of dollars, you have not been wronged by those who sold it to you. They have given you a great use value for a small cash value. Now keep in mind, everybody, this book's really old. It's still considered a modern classic, right? It's not like thousands of years old like ancient scripture or something, but still, money has inflated quite a bit since then. So, so when he says thousands, consider millions. And when he says, a few dollars, consider thousands of dollars. Okay, so just adjust accordingly. I will continue. Let us suppose that I own a picture by one of the great artists, which in any civilized community is worth thousands of dollars. I take it to Baffin Bay and by salesmanship induce an Eskimo to give a bundle of furs worth $500 for it. I have really wronged him, for he has no use for the picture. It has no use value to him. It will not add to his life. But suppose I give him a gun worth $50 for his furs. Then he has made a good bargain. He has use for the gun. It will get him many more furs and much food. It will add to his life in every way. It will make him rich. See that? So what are we talking about here? We're talking about use value. We're talking about subjective value. What is it worth to who? And this is something I cover with my students here in DA quite often, is the idea of subjective value. In a lot of cases, people are attempting to do business with some sort of a physical product, like a book, like a bottle of vitamins, jungle juice, all the stuff we've been talking about, skin cream, soap, whatever. Nothing wrong with those products. They're useful. I buy them. I eat the vitamins, man. I drink the juice. I think it's great, right? I got lots of friends in home-based business. I say yes to everybody. Oh, you got the juice? Sell me some juice, man. I want the juice. I'm not going to do business. I'm not looking to sell the juice. I'll buy the juice, though. Yum, 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 right? I'm into health and all that. But here's something that is easily commoditized. You see the value of something like a bottle of vitamins, let's say. Well, what's that worth? Well, I can go to the store and I can buy vitamins and spend $50 for a month's supply, maybe for some magical vitamins, $70, whatever. Are your vitamins worth more? Maybe a little bit more, I don't know, but you see, they're already commoditized. In my mind, I think vitamins are worth $50. And you might be able to get a little bit more. But unless they're magical vitamins, probably I'm not going to stick with the automatic enrollment of that, the auto ship, the monthly purchases. I'm probably not going to stick for too long if they cost much more than the vitamins that I could get for $50. You see that? They don't have a substantially higher use value to me than the ones that I could get. You see, they're a commodity. A commodity. It's got an objective value. Objective. Whereas what we deal with here are, first of all, intangible products, right? Let's say, for example, our Rise Home Study course. So we've got our Rise Home Study course, and that is a digitally delivered online learning system, and there's nothing for you to touch, right? You can't touch the Rise Home Study course. There's no product being packaged and shipped, right? Which is wonderful, by the way, for all of us marketers, because now there's just that much more money that's not going out to putting the stuff in the box and mailing it to the people and printing the materials, the CDs, the DVDs, all that stuff. It's all digitally delivered. Hooray! And it's instantly delivered. How nice is that? Pretty great. So now there's more money in it for you. Very good. As a marketer, very nice. Okay, so intangible, that's one thing. And then subjective, which is exactly what Wallace Wattles is talking about here in this book. What is that painting worth? Well, in the city, with all the the aristocrats, yeah, that painting's worth thousands of dollars. By today's standards, let's say $1 million for a painting. Maybe it's a Jackson Pollock. Anybody ever seen a Jackson Pollock painting? I don't get it. People pay millions of dollars for these things, and it's just like flicking paint onto a canvas. I don't know what is that. I could do. My daughter could do that. Anyway, I'm blaspheming Jackson Pollock right now, but for those of you who like that sort of thing, have at it. But people pay millions of dollars for that kind of stuff. Subjective value. And I suppose there's a way to tell the difference between something my 6-year-old daughter did and something Jackson Pollock did. Maybe I don't have a keen enough eye. See, subjectively, to me, that's not worth, like if I really had a craving for a Jackson Pollock painting, I would get my daughter in here and I'd get paints and we'd have a blast and then I'd hang it on the wall and we'd be done. But I'd save $1 million. But you see the subjective value of that. Not worth anything to the Eskimo. What's he going to do? Hang it in his igloo and sit there and be cold and look at the painting? No, he would have taken the Eskimo by making that trade, right? Here's a painting worth thousands of dollars, and he would have traded the Eskimo for $500 worth of furs, was the number he gave in the book, and he would have. You think, wow, why would he give away $1 million painting for such little money? Actually, he ripped the Eskimo off. That's what he would have done had he done that. There's no use value there. But he says if I trade him the gun worth $50, again, we're going back in time here a little bit, and he took $500 in furs in trade. That was actually a fair trade. That was a good deal. The Eskimo now can go and hunt and can do it much more efficiently than with the spear or whatever they're doing up there. And again, we're going back 100 years. And so this is some modern technology, and he could feed his family and get many more animal furs, more than $500 worth, much more, right? Assuming he has ammo. I don't know if the ammo comes with the gun, but anyway, that's the trade, right? So high use value, high subjective value, whereas the painting had low subjective value. You see how this works? So we have to know what that value is. That's the point that I'm looking to make here with everyone tonight, is that if you are vague about the value of your offer, you will not communicate effectively to those who currently don't know what they want or that this is a solution for the problems in their life. This is it. This is the most direct and expedient route to them getting what they want, which I can tell you in a general sense is to have increase and transformation in their immediate financial future. Yes, to have the time freedom, the money freedom, to regain some cause in their life, some control, and that comes through opportunity. That comes through this opportunity. What are all the good things about this opportunity? And you must include yourself in that list of benefits. If you are missing from that list, you've missed the biggest part. Because look, people can go anywhere. They can sign up. They can do all kinds of different things, right? They can go join this company, that company, whatever they want to do, right? It's free market. Do whatever you want. But they can't do it anywhere else with John Lavenia or with you, right? There's some exclusivity there. Right there. Right there. We just added ourselves to the offer as an exclusive benefit. You can't get that anywhere else. There is no competition for you if you're an asset. Yes. Now, if you're a liability, which I can tell you, and I'm just going to, again, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. A lot of people are liabilities. Oh, I'm going to do Facebook marketing. And they get on Facebook and they're in these forums, these groups, and they're bitching and griping about this and that, their sponsor, their problems, they're broke, they haven't made any money yet. I don't know why people aren't getting started with me. I can tell you why. Who would want to buy that? Look, people can stay stressed out and broke just in their job. They don't need you for that. And look, your attitude, which is the culmination of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, okay, that's what your attitude is. So let's make sure we understand what that is. But your attitude speaks more loudly than the words you may use. And that's why at another point in this book, Wallace talks about the idea that two people engaged in the same business can have completely different results. One gets rich, the other remains poor. And he says the one that gets rich does things in this certain way. And to do things in the certain way, you must think in the certain way. Read this book. If you haven't read this, read this book. He says the certain way like 35 times throughout the book. A certain way. Consider what that certain way is. It's the certain way, by the way. It's not a certain way. It's the certain way. So read the book and ponder that bit of philosophy and see what you come up with. I've pondered it quite a bit. And so certainly, there's that word again, certain. Certainly, you can be an asset or a liability to the potential transaction. There's no way for you to be an asset if you don't know you're an asset. There's no way for you to show up as valuable in the marketplace if you don't know that you're valuable. If this guy went to Baffin Bay and said to the Eskimo, hey, I like those animal furs over there. I got this device right here. It's called a gun. It does stuff, it dispenses bullets at a high rate of speed towards your target. I don't know if you'd have any use for it. Actually, this one's kind of old. Maybe you want to trade for me. I don't know. I mean, it could be. Have you ever seen something like this? No, you haven't. You've never seen one of these things before? You probably wouldn't be interested. How's that sound? How's that for salesmanship? That's not very certain, right? He knows not the benefits that could be in the possession of that Eskimo if he but made that trade. But if he knows the benefits, if he knows the use value of this thing, now with power and with decisiveness and with resolve, he can induce a transaction. See the difference? That's how important you are. Right there. Right there. And some of you may say, oh, but we have coaches. Yes, we have coaches. But the sales process, remember, it's not an event, it's a process. The sales process starts the moment you place an ad, the moment you write an email, the moment you impinge on someone's space out in the public. Word number one, that's when the sales process starts. Before they click, that's when the sales process starts. Are you part of that? Are you part of that process? Yes, irrevocably. You are part of that process. Look, I won't write an email if I'm having a bad day. I won't create an advertisement. I won't get in communication with people if I'm having a bad day. I got to get my mind straight first. Okay, and certainly, you know, with my coaching duties here that I do in addition to running these calls and running my own companies, you know, sometimes it's I'm up in the morning, and before I've even had a chance to do any exercise or anything, I get a glass of water and I'm immediately on the phone with people like on the other side of the world where it's getting late in the day for them and it's like crack of dawn over here. And you know what? I want to meet with people. I want to get right to it. Well, before I get right to it, I get my head straight, right? Before I get to it, I remind myself of who I am and what I'm able to deliver in the marketplace, which includes these people I'm about to talk to. And I damn well better show up as an asset to them. That is my responsibility, to show up as an asset, to be a person of value, to leave them more enriched and with an impression of increase, which is another thing that Waddles talks about in this book, the impression of increase, to leave people with an impression of increase every time they cross my path. Is that easy? Well, I can tell you it's not arduous. You know, it's, you know, I've been, had times in my life, like some of you who know my story, I was a troubled youth, right? There was a time where I was one of the most miserable people on the planet. I'm not anymore, right? So, but does that mean that every day is a bowl of cherries or something? No, we got problems. And that's one of the things we do as humans, right? Is we get to solve problems. That's great, right? Life would be pretty boring if it were not for some problems to solve. But yeah, we got lots of opportunities here, which we can call problems, challenges, whatever. Okay, that's fine. I had a staff meeting today with my company. We got problems to deal with, and we're dealing with them, right? And everybody's on post, and everybody knows what they got to do. And if they don't, we have discussions about it, and we get problems solved. It's not always happy-go-lucky. Okay, but hey, right? The more you do this, the more you tackle the day, like Cassandra was talking about this morning on the wake-up call. By the way, what a great wake-up call. Every Monday, my goodness, we launch every week with a rocket ship ride from Cassandra. So thank you, my friend, for all you do. But just think about what she was talking about today. If you heard it, if not, catch it on the podcast. The idea of doing 10 times, like my friend Grant Cardone talks about, 10 times what you think it'll take to get the job done. Great, do 10 times that, right? Urgency, definiteness of purpose, action, yes, this is what we do. And so the more we do that, the more we will see the so-called problems, these mountains, turn into molehills. And so relatively speaking, yeah, I can handle problems today that other people might take them out. So is it easy? I'll say it's easier. It's easier, relatively speaking, because, you know, time has gone on and my goodness, you know, I've been studying how the mind works for 30 years, so I suppose I gained some traction here. My life's working okay, but think about that. Think about that. The person, the uninitiated, the person who right now is wondering if there even is a solution to their problems, and they don't know exactly what they want, but they know it's not what they got right now, and they don't know who's going to be able to show it to them, and it damn well better be you. And that's how important you are in the transaction before they ever even find out what a coach is or that DA exists or any of that. That's how important you are. You're the front line. And that's why you make the most money. Right, so as affiliates, you make the lion's share of the money. That's just good stuff right there. I mean, look, you can get into any sort of a business, and 80% of making it work is going to be marketing. If you don't got marketing, you got nothing. You got no company. You may have an idea. You may have a product that sits on a shelf. You may have a concept. You may have some wishful thinking, but without marketing, you're going nowhere. So think about that. Yes, you get to be the first asset that people confront. So you damn well better show up as an asset. Because I'm going to. That's right. I'm going to, and I will speak for every coach and person behind the scenes here at DA. We got to be on top of our game. This is not for the dilettante, okay? There are millions and millions of dollars on the table here. This is big business. I know nobody spent millions to get into this business, and in the real world, people are putting down $500,000, $1 million plus to start franchises where they're not even going to break even for 2 years, and they're going to go home every day smelling like pickles and onions, and that's like normal and acceptable and okay, and sell me that deal. Okay, if that's what they know, right? If that's their solution, I think we know better. I can tell you that in my experience, we definitely know better. We definitely know better. Now, you like flipping hamburgers? Go flip the hamburgers, man. Do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, we've got the most direct and expedient and profitable route to giving people what they want, even when they don't know what they want yet specifically. But you show up as an example. You show up as an example, and you induce some faith, some hope in another. That's the on-ramp right there. Give them some hope. Give them an impression of increase having met you. And you do that with every word that comes out of your mouth or that you type into Facebook or whatever your favorite platform is, or before you even place the banner ad. That energy is going into that ad. Yes, this is energy. That's what talks louder than the words. Not to get too metaphysical here on you, but just consider that. Consider what we talked about here tonight. Consider the use value, the subjective value of your offer, and how you fit into that, and how you augment that or diminish that by your presence. You're either an asset or you're a liability. You need to show up as an asset, and you need to know why you're an asset. And when you know the value, you know the benefit of the offer, which includes you, then you can communicate it with power into the marketplace. Not introverting, not wondering if you're doing it right, not hoping to get a sale, but knowing that you've got value. And now you go into the marketplace not trying to get, but trying to give. Looking to deliver value, looking to deliver benefits to people who know not that they even exist yet. This is a powerful thing to do. You go in a spirit of gratitude and in a spirit of service, and then you're able to give of yourself. And my goodness, that air of non-attachment that you'll be able to exude is so attractive to people who are just looking for someone who knows where they're going. Like if you know where you're going, you're not attached and concerned and anxious about it. You know where you're going. That's it right there. That's the message. And when you can do that, and you can do it greater and greater, the more momentum you build in your business, the more attractive you will be, irresistibly attractive to your ideal prospect. And, by the way, the more repulsive you'll be to people who will waste your time, kick tires, and couldn't make a decision if their life depended on it, and they're going to probably just have to keep their job, if they even have a job, and not get fired from their job, and continue living a life of concession and possibly die broke, unless at some point they wake up and smell the coffee, okay? And that may be when they come across you again 5 years from now. You know, I've had people who have been on my list, like email marketing lists, for years before they ever bought anything. And then one day, they got an email. They hit me on Skype. They called me. They responded via email. They did something and said, you know what? I've been getting your emails for 2 years, and I thought you were a rotten bastard. But I'll tell you what, man, if this is real, you got to sign me up because my boss, my job, my problems, my pay, my whatever, right? Insert circumstances here. And now they were ready. Well, I was ready the whole time. But now they're ready, right? Had I not shown up as a beneficial source of information to them, then we probably would have never had that conversation. And of course, in our business here with DA, we've got some rather robust profitability. You know, when people do decide, now it's time for me to take some action. Now it's time for me to get serious about this. Pretty robust. Very nice. Very nice. Well done, everyone. Well done. Michael and everyone behind the scenes who makes this happen. And well done to you as you do your job, you man your post, and you deliver value in the marketplace, starting with knowing what that value is unequivocally. That's what your job is. Know what your value is, and then put it out there. And that's all I got to say tonight. I thought I was going to talk for 20 minutes. It's been 45. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions and comments. Hold on, here we go. Okay, so the lines are open. If you would like to come out here and have a little commentary time with me, you may have a question, you may not, I don't know, whatever you want to do, you can raise your hand. We got a few minutes left before my next appointment, and then we're going to take a few callers. I just saw a hand go up, and it went right back down, and I'm seeing a lot of chats here in the chat roll. Thank you all. A lot of praise. Thank you. More praise, everyone. More praise, please. But if you would like to come out here live on the call, feel free to raise your hand. If you're on a phone or Skype, then you can click *6. *6 will unmute your line, or it will raise your hand so that I can unmute it for you. And it looks like we do have our first caller in the queue, and here we go. Jose, you're live on the air. Hello, Jose. Are you there? You may be double muted. Jose, check your microphone. Jose, you're live on the air. I see Jose, but I do not hear Jose. Jose, one more try. Jose? Okay, not sure what's going on with Jose. Jose, figure out your tech, and then you can come back on. I just had another hand raised, and it went right back down. Who else would like to come out here on the call? Questions or comments? Now is the time. And who else would like to raise your hand? Go ahead. Who's next? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody here, so we are going to just wrap up with thank you all for your comments in the chat roll. I really appreciate you guys. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, feel free to share it with your team members, spread it far and wide. Let me thank our guest speaker for tonight, John Lavenia. Thank you. Oh man, you're so brilliant. Oh yeah. Oh, no problem. I'm quite happy to be here with you all tonight. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow morning on the wake up call. Make it a great night. You absolutely deserve it. Bye for now.